Good morning, gamers. Deuce Games here. So, I thought I'd make today's video about more Blue Protocol stuff as we've recently now learned a few interesting things. Not to mention, I've been wanting to make a video like this to discuss the things we know about this beautiful Blue Protocol game. Which, granted, on the Japanese side of things, we arguably know more about that than we do about um, their planned global release version. So, I figure we should probably talk about first what we know about Japanese version of Blue Protocol. And then we'll ease our way into what we know so far about global. Okay, so right off the bat, we already know, okay, that they took feedback from all their global, or not global, sorry, but all their betas and their alpha tests, their network tests, and compiled all of that feedback into one giant mega compilation. And they even discussed some of those things live on their broadcast streams, which are sort of like Final Fantasies, like live letters, essentially. It's the same deal with the Blue Protocol devs here, is they have these very similar broadcasts where they talk about the development process, um, what their ideas are for the game, and what's currently being implemented or worked on as of current. And so during these live broadcasts they've been doing, they showcase a lot of new information. They show off some features that the game will have, and they've stated their intentions to release this not just to a Japanese audience, of course, but to a wider global audience as well. So, we have to talk about the Japanese version because this is very much a separate version of its own. And even with global, there will be separate versions of themselves as well, because this is very much draws parallels to Final Fantasy XIV, even though I kind of wish I could not make that comparison, but the styles are very much in line with each other. So, what we know so far about the Japanese version specifically, okay, is that there will be 5 starting classes, okay? There will also be multiplayer aspects to the game that we can do. These will be dungeons, raids, and world events such as like special world boss enemies and stuff like that. And there will also be an arena of sorts where you can push your skills to the limit with a group of friends or with randoms and try to climb as high as you can for special rewards and stuff like that. So those are things that we have confirmed and we know of right now. There will also be a photo mode, which it's becoming pretty standard issue for um, online games that are like this, that have a 3D presentation. It's become more of a standard issue feature for online MMO RPGs. So you'll have a photo mode to play with, and this photo mode's quite impressive. Like, it really goes above and beyond most photo modes that I've seen in games. And they even kind of spoiled us with something that they didn't mean to show us, but it just kind of slipped. So, yeah, you could say it was like a developer leak, so they leaked it themselves. But there will be like an additional thing added to this photo mode where you can display like your job actions, your job abilities in this photo mode. So that's really awesome. I'm super hyped for that, and you can make a lot of cool or interesting or even funny pictures with that. Like, I can already see someone's gonna make a hilarious picture with the meteor spell. Probably gonna cast it and just like have their character like standing like in front of it as it's falling from the sky with a like malicious grin or something like that. Or, there will be others that will probably use it for, the explosion meme from a certain show. So I can see that happening. So this photo mode's pretty fantastic. There will also be a guild-like feature. They don't call it a guild or thing like that, but like you'll be able to just basically make up a sort of group of your own where you can um, find like-minded players to go on certain adventures or role play or do like end game content with. So that's another thing we know for the Japanese version. Another thing we know is that they've polished a lot of the gripes from the feedback they received from all the tests, which a lot were like the drop rates being horrendously unacceptable. Um, like certain jobs felt like unbalanced and underutilized, so they went back and looked at those jobs and they changed them ever so slightly. Like, they didn't change the concept, but like they adjusted like the way they play a bit so that they will feel relatively better at launch. Which we're going to get to the launch part, which I know is what everyone's going to click on this video for. So please have some patience as we get to that, because I want to make sure we address all that we know first before we get into the super exciting time of when you can actually play this game. So there's that. Another feature we'll have that we know is fishing. And this fishing, I know that some people have reservations about fishing because not a lot of games really do fishing any justice when it comes to, online games. But this one is going to work like a mini game of sorts where you'll go to like a body of water where fishing's allowed, I suppose, and you'll just sit there and fish. You'll watch like this gauge meter thing, like fill up, and like at a certain point, it will tell you when to start reeling, and then you'll want to start, I guess, button mashing the buttons to hit the right spots to get the fish. And the fish, they said, will be tradable, so like if you collect fish, you can turn them in for something, probably like monetary gain, or for like, in-game currency or something like that. So it won't be. Oh, and they said they'll probably add like achievements or like titles as well. So there will probably be like some kind of achievement or title involved with the fishing feature. So if you're someone who enjoys that, then there you go. There's a little bit of content for you there. There's also the ability to interact with pets. So like this cat-like creature that's sitting in front of me here. Like you can interact with animals like them and just like pet them, or like, you know, just like get them to do like a handshake or trick or some kind. So that's fun. There's also going to be training dummies. So you'll be able to test out your builds and stuff with training dummies, which will be located just outside like the city hub. So that will be super nice. Um, and along with the jobs customizations, so you'll have your main set of skills, which you have a limit on ones you can have active and ones you can set, but you'll have like several options to choose based on whatever type of play style you want to embrace. So whether that's you want to be like a super buffy defender, or like a super damage output attacker, or like more of like a reserved or balanced type of style, then you can go ahead and have that with the multiple jobs we have. Now, they said there's not really any roles, like they're not restricting people to roles, but they said that their job with the tank, or the job with the sword and shield, and the job that has like the metallical machine-like weapon. They're called the foe breaker in English, but it's heavy smasher in Japanese. Um, those two, they said, would have increased aggravation and anonymity, which basically is fancy words for saying that, they're gonna keep the enemy's attention focused at them more so than the other jobs. So I guess you can think of them as like the defenders, the tanks, if you want to, but like I said, the freedom of customization with the jobs will make it so that you get a lot of different flavors of playstyles. And I just want to address this now. Like, yes, obviously there's going to be a clash between casual gameplay and, these meta gamers, these elites who think that the game has to be played a certain way or there's no other way to play the game besides that way. Like, that's more than likely gonna happen. It's, it's the internet, so really, there's no escaping this clash, but the devs making it pretty clear that, they want people to play and experience this game in their own way, and I agree with the developers. You should be able to play and enjoy a game in whatever way you choose to enjoy that. So, I don't really see that as a problem, but the other side of the camp, the other side of the fence will say, no, it's unbalanced. This is terrible. This feels like garbage to play. Like, it's gonna happen, like there's gonna be those negative Nancy's, like no matter what game you go to and everything like that, they're just gonna be there. So maybe you'll be one of them. But no offense, if you are one of them, you just need to chill, man. You just need to play the game and have fun. Like, sure, you play your way, but you know, let everyone else play their way too. Like, don't be that guy that's trying to push an agenda or force a meta, because I guarantee you're not going to be well liked, especially with the audience they're obviously aiming for with this game. Like, if you really don't understand the audience that they're aiming for, you don't understand the players that play these kind of games, which, by the way, this is Japanese, so JRPG, which means there's going to be lots of story, lots of cosmetics, like probably lots of branching side stories, side quests, and lots of seasonal events, probably, or like live events, and just lots of quality of life, basically. Like, if you're coming into this game with an end game mindset, um, I don't really know what to tell you, but you're gonna be disappointed. You will be heavily disappointed, I'm afraid to tell you. Like, this isn't gonna be a game that focuses on endgame. I'm really sorry to burst that bubble for some of you, but that's just the reality of it, you know. Like, the game developers are gonna go where the money's at, and endgame has proven time and again to not be where the money's at because their numbers show typically will show that people that even reach the end game point or even engage with it is like less than 20%. Like 15% would be generous, but it's not likely to get that high. Like, and considering the monetization too with this game, and specifically as it relates to the Japanese version here, is that, you know, the monetization is heavily going to be focused on cosmetic items. So, like, people are going to be throwing out a lot of money just to look real good in their avatars. And also, you know, they said they're going to monetize character slots as well, so there's going to be people dishing out money to have multiple characters as well, so because they give you 2 character slots for free, which is more than enough in my opinion, since there's only 2 genders of characters to play as, you know, male and female. But you can make your characters, like, you could make, as I hate to say the term, a feminine boy, or you could even make like a butch looking lady who's muscular and like, well, maybe not so much super muscular, but like you could make like a sort of like flat chested female who's looks more on the male equation. So you can bet like yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people clamoring to this game solely to dress up their character and be their character how they want to express themselves. So that's gonna be a pretty large, significant amount of players. And like, I don't know, like outside of the achievements and titles, I don't know if there's gonna be like any like legendary weapons or like magical rare mounts in game. So, because those are things they just haven't talked about yet, the Japanese developers and the producers of this game. Like, they haven't told us, like, what their vision for Endgame really is yet. I think they said that they want to address that in their next live broadcast stream, which I guess, according to my sources that I view, um, they all seem to suggest that in 2 weeks' time, before the launch of this game, that they want to address like what type of monetization they're going to stay with, like what in-game features they're going to develop and go with, and just sort of like how often we can expect an update to travel our way, which this game is free to play, so that means it's not tied to any monthly subscription or monthly fees. Of course, there is like going to be a monthly thing you can pay into if you choose to. That's the key word there, if you choose to. Which it's sort of like a battle pass type of ordeal, and like what it ends up being is that basically you're given a set of objectives, and by completing those objectives or agendas, you'll unlock exclusive rewards that are limited for a certain period of time. Now, as I've stated, they're using cosmetics as a monetization. I can guarantee that more than likely, after enough time passes, like let's say 6 months, for example, pass and gone, then more than likely they'll take those previous season pass rewards and they'll toss them into a um shop of some kind. So like whether or not you pay for the additional pass, you're still guaranteed to be able to purchase whatever is in the additional option, like at a later point in time. So like I guess you could say they're really trying hard to eliminate that concept of FOMO that online gamers often toss around a lot, so that, you know, this game can be like a truly like free to play experience where you could just come and go at your leisure, which that's kind of been like the way things have been going with gaming on like the eastern side of the globe. Is like they've been kind of moving away from like the heavy grinds and like the tedious tediously long and boring fetch quests mindset sort of things, and they're moving more towards like casual experiences and like more of like convenience I guess you could say. It's like they want gaming to be more of a convenient feature, convenient hobby, rather than a spend your entire waking days and nights on it type of ordeal that us on the western side of the globe kind of grew accustomed to, basically. So this game may not be for you if you're just like one of those types who are seeking to like um you know do this game from a very grind heavy and extreme mindset. Like, it's probably not going to appeal to you so much in that regard. So it might not do so well in the West because of that, but like I know a lot of people are still super excited because you know this has that anime aesthetic and anime feeling to it, and anime is a super big subculture in the West. It's something that is way hyped up and way exciting to a very large number of people. So, and not just that, but the publisher and developer behind this game, which is Bandai slash name Namco, are very heavily known for anime stuff. So, and the fact that they're pushing out a game like this that's an online multiplayer um, is like a super exciting thing for a lot of people, myself included, because I've always wanted to have a video game, an anime video game that feels like you're in a vast open anime world with a character of your own that you can like customize and dress how you want your anime character to feel like. And so that's just very very exciting, and it's generates a lot of hype. About anyway, sort of off topic, but I've basically spelled out the Japanese version in a nutshell for you there. So think of it this way. Um, this game will feel like a typical Japanese RPG game. It's not going to be extremely difficult, and it's not going to be super grindy either. Like, as I've just said, their idea and concept behind this game is to be something you do leisurely at your own pace. And like, if you're tired out from it, if you're burnt out from it for whatever reason, then that's okay. You can quit and you can come back at any time you want to. Because there's if there's nothing here for you to no longer do, and your friends have like moved on or whatever after they've done everything they wanted to do, then you have no obligations to stay. And like I said, eventually all things will be purchasable in a shop with real money, of course. So, whether that applies to like seasonal events or not, I honestly don't know. They haven't talked about that yet. Or maybe nobody's just never asked them that yet, but I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible idea if they were to also add like past events items into their shops that are available to buy like later on. I mean, going back to Final Fantasy again, which I hate to do it, but in their game in Final Fantasy, they also kind of like recycle um, old event rewards into their cash store, so you're never really at a loss of losing out on anything because you just get to get whatever the rewards were at a later date if that's how you choose to play the game. But honestly, to me personally, I feel like playing the games while they're active, like the events while they're active, is a good way to create like some good memories. So like I kind of put it on myself to do like seasonal events in these type of games because they are a good way to build relationships with other players, with friends, and a good memory to have, like to call back upon and be like, yeah, I remember when they had that event going on, and like there's this really funny moment or something like that, or like me and my friends cheesed like this one part of the event so hard that like it caused like a glitch in the character or something, you know, like just all these kind of like random experiences or moments could happen just by doing like live events when they're around. So, if nothing else, like if the end game doesn't appeal to you, um, and like you've leveled up everything, then it would probably be worth it to at least log back on for like the seasonal things to do with friends and stuff and make some memories that way. And on with the subject of endgame, so let's talk about what the endgame looks like on the Japanese version here. So what we know about the endgame is that you will have like a ranking system. So there's this rank called Adventure Rank, which is a rank you basically get from completing the quests, like the main quests in game, as well as completing, like requests, which you could call them, like, um, sub quests or whatever. And that boosts your rank up high enough to where you can progress, but also so that you can obtain more in-game reward stuff. So that's part of a factor of in-game. Another part is weapon crafting. So you will, in order to increase like power on your characters, you'll need to obtain materials which can be earned from doing um, missions, they call them, and doing dungeons and raiding. So if you do these missions, dungeons, and these raids, you can get drops of items which will help you build up your weapons' strength, durability, and power. Which it's kind of funny. Um, with the sword and shield job, which is called the Blade Warden, they can actually like lose their shield in battle if their shield's endurance runs out. So I guess for those playing that job, which I guess will be me, because like they don't have a like a sword damage dealer yet, which I hope they do eventually. Like I would love it if they added like a swordsman of some kind, but we'll see. We'll see what the developers have planned for that for us. But for the Blade Warden, you'll probably definitely want to have a lot of durability built into your weapon so that you can avoid losing your shield that often in battle. Um, so if you're a fan of, I guess, the Monster Hunter series, then this will be pretty familiar to you. And then, the other endgame that we know of, which I briefly mentioned earlier, is an arena thing which you can do solo. You don't have to queue up with people, but you can do it solo. The arena thing, you can climb the ranks of the arena, and there's probably going to be special achievements and titles for that as well. And probably the higher you go, the better rewards you'll be able to obtain. Um, then there's I guess is it called a climbing dungeon? Or dungeon crawl, I guess. There's this dungeon which will have levels upon levels that you climb up, and they want it to be like ceasingly kind of like endless. So like I guess if you go higher and higher, like you start to Like the enemies start to get meaner and tougher, but also like I guess you get like higher drop rates of things and like um yes, so like higher just basically like I guess a way to challenge a challenge of sorts. So the arena and the dungeon crawl are challenges, I guess, that you can undergo solo or with team to help, you know, get higher drops and get like more challenging, harder enemies to fight against. There will be no PvP, they said, which some people are glad of because there's some people who don't like PvP. This includes a majority of the Eastern audience, of course. Whether there will be PvP in the global version, I don't know. They have not announced any intentions for it, and we've gotten no confirmation either way. But the developers themselves, they've said they have no intention to add PvP. But their answer is that it's not a permanent no. Like, they said that if there's an audience for it and there's people asking for it, that they'll consider it. So, if you're one of the people on the other side who wants to have some form of PvP implemented or added, then save up those thoughts and get your fellow PvPers, together. And I guess if they give us some kind of forum or something to provide feedback to, a place where we can provide feedback towards, then that would probably be the best place to go to request that. But as of right now, no plans for PvP, but they've said that could change in the future if there's demand for it. So it's very much a wait and see thing. Um, as for player housing, there's no confirmed details or plans in regards to having any sort of player housing. But they've said in the past, though, that they would like to include a feature where players have like their own sort of living area. So we will again wait and see what happens with that going forward. Um, Given how things typically work, I'm not expecting it to be too grand. Like, if anything, it will probably be like a studio apartment like thing. with the ability to customize like the layout and maybe designs and furnishing placements, but I guess it really just depends on what the developers view as an acceptable and a manageable system that would allow players to have their own, like, slice of heaven. I mean, hell, they could even go the Elder Scrolls Online route and just sell players like a random plot of land in the vast open world. Like, they could go that route if they really wanted to. Just like, say, we've heard that you players love housing. Well, here you go. Here's a house that you can buy. Just pay the fee and you'll have your nice little house, digital house in the whatever this open area that we've designated for you. So I could probably see that being another option they might look into, but we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, this game is in its growing phase, so we can't expect it to be like perfect on every single front, like right from the get-go, because this is a brand new frontier for Bandai Namco. So we'll see how they handle that situation. Okay, now finally the thing that we've all been waiting for. Yep, drum roll please. And we're at, when exactly can we play the Japanese version of this game, right? When can we play this game? So, for this Japanese version, they have just recently announced that it will be coming to gamers in Japan around June 14th, which is very soon. Like, very, very soon. So, those who play in Japan will get to experience Blue Protocol and what it's about. And we'll probably see a lot of videos around it based upon that, coming out of like Japanese YouTubers and such. So now, whether they go into as much detail, I can't say. Because I'm pretty sure, like, YouTube and Twitch are, like, not the Japanese primary, like, video place to go to. So we probably won't see much information come our way through YouTube or Twitch. But going back to one of my sources, there is a player who lives in Japan and is fluent in both English and Japanese. So, and he's been doing great coverage of this game and providing lots of information to um, the global audience. So I'd highly suggest you check him out. His name is Ether Song. Um, he's a very fantastic source of information, very reliable. He's been spot on with translations and everything, which my other sources confirm, of course, that he is right on the same ball with them. So with him living in Japan, and he said in his recent live stream, which I did view, because I figure I'd give him the support he needs since he's been such a very nice and great source of information and hype surrounding this game. He said that he is going to play the Japanese version of the game since he does live in Japan and he does like speak and write like fluent Japanese. So we'll probably get a lot of um, like guides and information videos coming from him like this year, and he'll be able to explain like how systems work, like how gameplay um, feels, and like how it works, and probably show us like how like how cheap or how expensive things will be. And he'll probably I can see him being the type of creator who will also like make videos on how you can obtain certain items or like mounts or stuff like that. I can see him probably doing that, like going like step by step, like how you can obtain certain things. So that will be probably good to have as a future reference for when the global version eventually makes its way out. Which that brings us finally to the global version. So honestly, we don't have a lot of information on global version. Like, we know who the publisher is, and we now also know that they've pushed the date out significantly far, which has a lot of people upset and angry, and that's understandably so, you know. I'm not going to be someone that calls them like crybabies or whiners or complainers because, there was so much hype for this game to be good and to be exciting and to be able to play it because ever since it's been announced and planned, like a lot of people have been waiting with a bated breath to finally um, get the opportunity and the chance to finally play this game without, having to resort to exploits, which can get them into deep trouble if they don't play it safely. And so the news that the global version is gonna has been pushed back to next year has really dampened the mood of many of those who have been waiting for so long. And they've kind of lost hope of ever reasonably being able to play this game like in their native environment. And so I've seen comments everywhere saying, "Oh, do you think someone will make like an English localized patch, or do you think we'll be able to modify the game to translate English for us, or like, do you think that they'll be mad at us if we use a VPN to play the JP version?" And so there's just like a lot of panic and a lot of disdain, a lot of frustration going on ever since this has been announced. The publisher's Amazon Games, by the way, which there's a very minor group who disagrees with how Amazon's handled their games in the past. And yes, I say minor because it really is minor. Like, I'm not hearing like a lot of complaints from bigger content creators or like, you know, bigger spheres of influence. I'm not really hearing really any complaints about Amazon and their gaming situations. So, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then there was a debacle, of course, that, Amazon's trying to westernize the global version and make it super heavily censored or so far removed from what players want that it will be unplayable. When the opposite could be true. Like maybe they'll actually do a better job than we think. Like maybe they'll actually remove like something that the Japanese version has that people view as like predatory, which is like some of the cash shop items, which there's an item specifically that people have been mad about, is that there's an item where basically you can advance your crafting of your weapons to get a guaranteed success, which kind of seems very pay to win. Like if you're getting success every single time with this item, then yeah, you're basically paying to win. But at the same time, we can't really call it winning because you're not really getting an advantage over players because there's no advantage to be gained over other players. Like, sure, there's the achievements and titles that you can flaunt around, I guess. And sure, maybe you can, like, brag about having, like, the strongest weapon that you could possibly have, but I mean, that's really it. It just comes down to bragging rights. So, like, is that really winning? I mean, sure, some of people might think that in their mind, but the majority of those who will be playing this game, they're really not going to care about that. I can tell you right now, they're not going to care. Like, the only types who are going to really care about this item are the top, like, 5%. That's that's it. Everyone else is probably going to be like unaware. They're not going to know it exists, or they're just not going to care. They're just going to be like, I got my cool looking clothes, I've got my cool mounts, I play with my friends or my guild, I'm having a good time, so whatever, man. You go enjoy your spotlight. I don't care. That's gonna be the majority of players. Is like, they're just not gonna care. But Amazon might care and remove that. So I guess that's a win for the 5% if Amazon removes that. And not only that, but also there's, I guess, a way to advance. So pay to advance. I guess there's like mention of like some kind of quest skipping thing. And then there's also a item which the Japanese version has that can boost like the amount or like the number of times something drops, I guess. So people were pretty mad about those things as well, which I guess not being, like I said, so much pay to win, but pay for convenience, which is just, again, something that some players take issue with. I mean, really, it's none of my business what you do with your money. Like, it's your money, and I don't care, you know. Do what you got, do what you want to do with it, you know. It's your financial situation, not mine. I'm not your spouse, I'm not your parent, I'm not your guardian, so who am I to lecture you and tell you how to be more responsible? So, it is what it is. But Amazon might remove those. So, that's okay, I guess. Like, if they do or they don't, it's really not going to bother me that much. And it's not really going to bother much of the majority of people that will be logging in to play this game a lot. So, it just is what it is. Like, I guess what I could say to that kind of situation is that the drive and the pull towards, anime, a certain anime body part, is gotta be a lot higher than people caring for whether Johnny Whale wants to be special and unique because he paid to, like, get done faster. Like, really, that's the reality of the situation here, is like, no one's gonna care. And, like, yeah, I can already see it now. There's gonna be a video somewhere on Twitch or YouTube or Twitter or whatever. There's gonna be that one person who's gonna be like, oh, I'm bored now. This game was so easy for me. I have nothing to do with this game. It's boring. It has no soul. And then that person's gonna get called out for having used all their money to skip past every single thing. And calling them out probably and saying, whoa, gee, I wonder why you're bored, because you basically wailed your way past everything. It sounds like it's a you issue. I already can see it. There's gonna be that one person. I can already see it. Oh, man. But the majority will be fine. Like, hands down, they'll be fine. I don't think they'll have any issues whatsoever. Sorry for the brief pause there. I just needed to blow my nose real fast. But, yep, the majority's not going to really have much of a problem either way if Amazon does or doesn't remove the features that the Japanese version has with regards to monetization. Like, it's really not going to affect the average anime JRPG enjoyer all that much. They'll just ignore it, or maybe they'll use it once or twice if they really, like, don't want to do something, and that'll be the end of it. And as for censoring, which people have claimed of Amazon's doing, Like I said, we really don't know much about global version. We really do not. And this supposed censoring, it happened from this thing what I'm using right now. They basically use this as their basis of, oh, they're censoring the game because this one NPC character doesn't look like the player character. Like, that is such a straw man argument, man. And not only that, but this is in this like benchmark thing. This is all just like testing data. It is, you know, it's not even the final solid product. We have no idea what the final solid product's gonna look like because it's not out yet. Like, jeez, man. I feel like some people just they have nothing to do with their themselves. They have nothing to do with their lives, so they have to create these like situations. Like they have to create over dramatized situations because they really have nothing better to do. So it's too soon for us to be doom calling and causing a ruckus when that problem may not even exist to begin with. Like, we just don't know, okay? We just don't know what's planned for the global version because there's no information out there on the global version. Like, we can only use the Japanese version to infer what the game may or may not be like. And that's just it, you know. Now, going back to like the Japanese version. Now, I heard the people saying, "Well, I'm just gonna jump on a VPA and play Japanese only." And then, like I said, there's people asking, "You think they'll be mad? You think I'll get banned if I use that?" Okay, let me answer that question for you. Okay. Chances are, yes, they will ban you. And the reason for that, okay, is because part of it is a bit of gatekeeping, yes. Like, let me tell you, I love Japanese people. I do. They are some of the nicest and friendliest bunch you may ever come to meet. But they can be gatekeepy when it comes to their things. Like their way of doing things and like their spaces, you know, their comfort areas. They can be very, very gatekeepy about that. And like, even when you go over to like visit Japan, they're like very, like, not tolerant of foreigners. Like, they want nothing to do with foreigners. They want the businesses side, they want your money, yes. And they'll put up with any like wacky or weird things that you do or say, business side of Japan will, but like the common people, common folks, they're gonna give you some weird looks, and they're really like not gonna be happy that you're doing things you're doing. And they'll see the way that they handle those situations that they don't are discomfortable with or uncomfortable with is they'll straight up blacklist you, block you, completely avoid you, won't make any contact with you. You'll basically get like the silent treatment. You won't get any responses, no replies. Or if they're feeling particularly gatekeepy or mean spirited at that day, chances are they're probably going to report you. They're going to report you for being a foreigner on a Japanese server. And then the game masters or whoever, whatever team or whatever person's in charge of, handling reports of misdemeanors or misbehavior, chances are all they'll hear is, "Oh, foreigner acting acting suspicious or not right." Oh, okay. No questions asked. Banned. Like, that's all it takes. So, for those saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna play VPN," no, you're not. No, you're not. Unless you want to avoid all social interaction completely. And not to mention, you're not going to be able to buy stuff using your bank or your cards because they're going to be registered to whatever country of origin you're in. I mean, by all means, go ahead and try to, like, order yourself or register yourself a Japanese, like, account or something, or debit card or whatever. But as soon as agencies find that you're not like a citizen or something, well, guess what? Now you're just going to get reported for fraud, which is illegal by laws. And if that happens, well, then you're going to have a huge fine to pay. I hope it was worth it. Good luck. And not only that, if you forge like a fake name, fake account, that's also illegal in certain areas of the globe. You can get heavily fined and or jailed for that. So, again, good luck to you. Let me know how it all pans out. And not just that, but Bandai Namco's developers here of this game have said they are wholly against third-party softwares. So that answers the question, can I mod? Is there going to be an English patch or something? There's not. No. Absolutely there's not. Because they'll detect it, and then you're going to get banned. So, it's really up to you. Are those cons worth the pros of being able to log in and play by yourself? Because you're not going to be able to do anything socially. You're not. Like I said, it takes just one report of them saying, oh, foreigner acting suspicious or acting not in the correct way. Then the GM's going to be like, oh, okay, banned. So, good luck with your VPN adventures. Let me know how it pans out for you. And if you get banned, well, don't cry and bitch about it. You accepted that risk by doing that, and you also accepted that risk of getting in legal trouble, possibly too. So, for accounts of forgery or fraud. So, by all means, do those things at your own risk, but chances are you're not going to have a good time. You really are better off just waiting for the global version to come out than to risk yourself, like, not only getting banned, but also possibly in some legal jeopardy. So, it's up to you, I guess. But if just know that if you cry, bitch, and moan about it, you're gonna get shit on by the internet. You're gonna get memed on. You're gonna become a meme. So, I mean, you pick your poison, man. Let us know how it works out. Let us know how your illegal VPN action works, and how much you love the game not being able to buy things unless you have Japanese family or couple friends that would be willing to help you buy stuff. Or even play the game with you so that you don't feel like you're socially alone. Because that's what you're looking at by suggesting you're going to be a VPN only player or on a Japanese only server type of player when you're not Japanese resident. So, good luck. Good luck. Best of luck to you. I hope everything is favorable for you. But if not, like I said, don't bitch and moan because you accepted that risk. But anyway, that's everything that we know so far for Blue Protocol. I hope that you find this enlightening or funny at the end parts, but at the very least, I'll say if global is a travesty and a disaster, as some of these doomsayers will claim, then guess what, you guys? It's not that hard to write an essay to Bandai Namco themselves, the actual people creating the game. It's not hard to write a little short essay saying, I'm not happy with the way your publisher, Amazon Game Studio, has handled the release and operations of Blue Protocol. Please address their mismanagement and mishandling of this game, and then give your reasonings as to why you think that they've done such a bad job, like, say, localization or casting, is terrible. For example, I did not think that they portrayed the character that the way that this character should have been portrayed. Or you could say, I did not appreciate the way that they blocked us from having the original version of this outfit, which you guys promised us, as in the developers, okay? Be very specific when you write these posts, or else they won't take you seriously. But tell them that you, the developer, promised us that we'd have a certain look this way, but your publisher went behind your back and did it the other way that we did not like. There's another good example for you to write in your essay. And then another one. You could also say, I do not appreciate that Amazon Games, like, decided to tell, or like decided to portray my character this way. Or you can also say, like, I do not like the fact that Amazon has delayed um, us getting content at the same rate that, you know, you, the developers, are going at. And then, once Bandai finally responded to your essays, your concerns, they'll investigate. They'll open an investigation and they'll put into question all your concerns to Amazon Game Studio. And guess what? If Amazon doesn't respond to their inquiry, then they'll automatically assume, oh, something's not right. And guess what? Then they'll send someone. They'll send someone over to the Amazon Game Studio and ask, hey, or maybe they'll have like an agent there working at Amazon Game Studio. Maybe there will already be an agent there who they can contact at a moment's notice or an email, whatever, and say, hey, look into this. They've not been responsive to us, so look into this. And then their agent will look into it and then they'll report back. Like, that's how these things work. So you're not totally without options here, is what I'm trying to say. Like, if we're dissatisfied and not happy with the way Amazon's handles the release of this game, then by all means, let's band together and we'll create multiple essays to Bandai Namco's like forums or whatever it is they'll have for us to be able to provide feedback and stuff to. Just send it directly to Bandai Namco, and they'll for sure conduct an investigation and they'll get back to us. And what that could look like, okay, is if they get back to us, is we could get it in the form of a written dialogue from one of the main developers. We know who those three guys are by now. We see their faces in their live broadcasts. We'll probably more likely get a written out reply from them, which they'll pass on to, the global localization person, publisher or director, whatever. And in their message, they'll probably say, we've received many comments or feedback from our global audience saying on how they're dissatisfied with the state of the game as it's being localized by Amazon Game Studios. So we're currently conducting an investigation to find the root causes of the problem, and we've heard your we hear your basically we hear your concerns, and we will address them as soon as we conclude our investigations. Like, that's probably in a nutshell how their PR is going to handle such a situation of an influx of like oncoming like complaints. Is that they'll probably do things like that. So don't worry, don't panic, don't doomsay, or don't, you know, go off the rails. We have options. Like, it won't, and like I said, we could turn this into a positive. Like, for all we know, Amazon might do a pretty good job this time around. You know, like, sure, you can fault them for the mistakes they may have made in the past, but that's in the past for a reason. And if history teaches us anything at all, is that we can learn from our past mistakes and prevent them, from happening in the future. So I am willing for now to give Amazon Game Studio the benefit of the doubt. For now. But if it turns out that they do release the game in such a dumpster fire state and it's bad, then yes, I will join the rising chorus. And together we can send our complaints and our gripes to Bandai Namco's way so that they can investigate and solve the issue. And what that solving that issue could look like, okay, is like they have the power to suggest, okay, like firing certain individuals, okay, like the ball is in their court. Just because Amazon has the namesake of publisher, that don't mean shit. It means less than nothing. Because Bandai Namco owns the rights. They own the intellectual property of Blue Protocol here. So, it's 100% theirs, not Amazon's. The only thing that Amazon will really be responsible in the long run is possibly with the, if we take out distribution and localization, they could possibly be responsible for like game servers, like host servers. Okay, and that's it. That's really it. Like, Bandai has all the power over this game, and they can wholly, like I said, if they wanted to, they could suggest firing a certain employee if they see that it's a problem, they're being a problem to their game. Like, Amazon can wholly suggest that to Amazon Games do. They can say, hey, we don't like what you're doing. Cease this right now. Or, like, they can say, like, we've had multiple attempts to try to communicate with, so and so, who we believed was working in our best interest, but now we feel like they've soured our relationship. We want them to be removed, you know? And that's basically the fine line of saying, get rid of this guy now, or we're gonna stop writing the checks. Like, that's how ruthless Bandai could go if they wanted to. It's like, they can threaten, like, to stop writing the checks if they don't get rid of the problem person, or like problems that are being constantly brought up. And like, if they, especially if Bandai's getting like bad press over like Amazon's decisions, like, if it's one thing that they don't like in Japan, it's bad publicity. So if Amazon causes like bad publicity, then yeah, they're in big trouble. Like, major trouble. And Bandai's not gonna take it, like, Bandai Namco's not gonna take it sitting down lightly either. Like, they will say, fix the issue, fire whoever is the problem, and hire someone who will get the job done right, or, they'll just say, we'll stop writing the checks and we'll cancel, the contract, the deal. Which, that would really suck for the global audience, yes. It would mean that further delays would be made to like a patch or something like that. But if that's the road that happens, then I guess that's what happens. But, you know, MMO fans are pretty vicious. Doubly so if they're also like anime fans. Like, one thing to know is that you don't come between a anime fan and their hobby. Because if you do, well, things get pretty nasty. So, don't lose hope, is what I'll close the video off with. Don't lose hope. I know some people will decry copium, all that. Hey, whatever helps you sleep at night. But don't lose hope. And remain vigilant. Like, it's not fun to have, like, delays, especially when, we get the announcement that the game's ready and it's gonna be playable. But we will still probably get the game. Like, whether it takes, like, another year, or it takes only, like, 8 months, or, maybe even less than that, then I guess that's what's gonna need to happen, but I have confidence in Bandai Namco, and they will get us the game one way or another, whether they have to like publish the global version themselves or if they have to just find a different gaming studio to publish through. Then they'll probably do what they have to do, and we'll be okay. Like, we will be okay. And heck, just think about it though here. Like, think about all the Japanese developers can accomplish in that time while we're waiting patiently. And think about how even better the global version will feel because of that. Like, as the developers fine tune and they perfect and find the perfect balance to the game, like the perfect recipe. Yes, I know, I love Ignis from Final Fantasy 15. As they perfect their craft, while we're waiting, you can bet that this game's gonna be awesome and amazing when we get it in our hands. Because by then, the developers are gonna have a steady grip on things. Like, they're gonna know what they want to do, they're gonna do it, and they're gonna make the game like as great as they can make it. And they're gonna push it as far as they can push it. So, and not just that, but like, you know, we'll be able to learn like a lot of stuff about the game and be able to make a decision for ourselves too, like while we're waiting, like whether or not this is still gonna be a game like that will captivate us and hold our interests. Like, let's try to like just see like the positive of this sour, negative, you know, situation here. Because I guarantee, like, even if we wait it out longer, like, it'll be just like all the more sweeter for us when we do get this game. Because by then it will be a solid game. And we'll have the perfect, or not perfect, but like, we'll have like the best version to start with, basically. So, I'm optimistic in that way. Anyway, I'm gonna close off now this video here before I ramble on for too much longer. I hope that things turn out okay. I'm still happy for this game, excited for it. I wish, like all of you, that we could have gotten it sooner to play, but it's okay. Like I said, our patience may pay off in the long run for the better. And that's all we can ever hope for. And also, I hope that I see a lot of you there in that time when Global's finally available to us. Like, I hope that I'll be able to see lots of you there. Maybe we'll go on an adventure or two together, have some laughs, or just like have a lot of fun. And if you have any more questions, if I'm able to answer them, I will. Just leave me like comments below the video, and I will do my best to respond and answer the question as much as I possibly can. But anywho, Deus Game here, signing off. I hope everyone has a good day, a good night, good evening, and whatever, time of day or night it may be, and that hopefully this video lifts your spirits up even just a little bit. Take care, all.